Oh no, welcome to Grandads Allotment. 26th of August today, and I'm going to do some cuttings and some pruning of the orchard area. Show you what I'm doing. Right, this is the damson tree, and as you can see, it's probably, I don't know, 12 foot high, and it needs to be just over 6 foot. So where you can see it thinning out there, that's all summer sort of growth. So all that's got to come off, and it's got to trim to sort of that area. I will sort of thin out areas that are protruding outwards as well, just to try and tame it. And then I'm going to go on to the apple tree. But I'll set you up on the camera and show you what I'm doing with this one. Right, so this is just a summer pruning. So all I'm going to do is take off the summer growth and any bits that sort of head off outwards. I'm not pruning it back too hard. I think in the last few years I've pruned it too hard, and that's why I've not had the damsons. But I'll have to watch as well, because I've got a lot of wasps around the fruit. So yeah, I'm gonna sort of just tame it a little bit, and I'll do a hard prune in the winter. Right, I'll set you up to on speed it up a bit. Right guys, what I've done, took everything on the upward growth off. Sorry about that. Cleared out the middle, so anything pointing in towards the middle has come out as well, and sort of opened everything up a little bit for the damsons to ripen up. Right, onto the apples. Right, so the apple tree is slightly different. With the damson, what I've tried to create is sort of a goblet shape with an open centre to the tree. Apples are slightly different. These are espaliered, so they're tied in to the wires, and they're going left to right from the trunk in the middle. But what we need to do is cut off all of these upright shoots, and we need to cut them off back to a bud. So that's a bud there. As you can see, we'll cut them back to a bud, and that's where they'll fruit next year from those buds. But we don't want upright growth, we want horizontal growth. So I'll set these up and show you what I'm doing with this. I'll speed it up a bit. Right, so I've pruned that back. It didn't take too long, it's just a quick trim. So you can see this one, that's where it'll fruit from next year. So I've trimmed off the vertical growth. This is fresh bud this year. That's where it'll fruit from next year. Try not to move them too much, but you can see again, fresh bud for this year, so for next year. So I'll leave that on. That's where they'll fruit from. Right, go do a little bit on this one. Try and get into here. That's the gooseberry. Gonna try and tame that. Try and get some of them blackberries down. But I'm gonna have to find me thick gloves for to do that. Right, come back to you in a bit. Right guys, I've done the apple tree. I've pruned this gooseberry, pruned it right back hard. I'm probably going to move this pot to somewhere else in the garden, just to clear a bit of space around here. I've espaliered the pear tree. It did have another couple of, sorry for the shadow, another couple of shoots coming off here up the back, but they were like before the graft. So I've taken it back to the one graft, espaliered a few more out. I have got one pair left. You can see that. One pair left. So I've pruned this gooseberry back just to one stem. Don't know if you can see for the shadow, right, just to one stem, because it's not been pruned back for a couple of years, and that's all dead wood. So there's one new shoot up there. I'm going to try and train that a little bit better. So next to tackle this blackberry. I do want to, I feel as though I want to keep some, so I might train it back a little bit. I'm not sure yet. Let's see how it goes. It is a weed, but it is an edible weed, you know, and apples go with blackberry for crumble, you know what I mean? So I might pick a few fruit before I start, and then yeah, give that a go. See you in a bit. Right, I've picked a tub of blackberries. A couple of big apples have dropped off, so, and my last pair has dropped off, so I'm having that. So cleared away the blackberries from there. It may come back next year. It's a weed, so I'm not really bothered. Well, there's one that I've missed. Get that off. I've done the cherry tree as well, so thinned that out, given opened the canopy up, so taking anything off that's going inwards. That's 2 cherries that the birds haven't got, so I'll have them. Right, so I've cleared away this area. These are actually blueberries. That's a pink blueberry. And an ordinary blueberry there. Never done anything. It's probably because it's not an acidic soil. But I thought by putting the wood chips around might help, because they are sort of pine-based wood chips. I thought that might help, but hasn't really done anything. So they're probably going to come out and go into pots. So that's the whole orchard area cleared up a little bit, thinned out. Right, I've got a few cuttings that came off the gooseberries and stuff, so I'm going to plant them up. Right, I've got a few gooseberries here, what I cut back. Now they've actually rooted. They've layer pruned themselves. So this has been onto the gooseberry bush. It's been lying on the floor, and it's actually rooted. So I'm going to use that and pot that up. So just some ordinary pot and mix. This is quite dry actually. What I did when I was cutting, I just picked these up and popped them in the water barrel while I was doing the rest of the pruning. But I'm going to pop these in, take them 2 lower leaves off, and see what they do. Like I say, they've layer pruned themselves, so they've layer rooted, so they've been lying on the wood chip, and they've rooted themselves. You can see the thorns are actually pointing the other way, but we'll see what happens. It might not take because it's upside down. This one, you can see that's the plant going down. It's rooted, and this is the new one coming up. So I'm going to take off that old one. It's got 2 shoots coming up, and I think that one's probably, it's got a leaf on, but I'll take it out. Take off some of these bigger roots. And it's going to go in as well. See if we can get something off these thorns. It's the only thing about gooseberries, I should do a thornless gooseberry, because they're a nightmare to plum and harvest, but I love them. Right, that's two done of the layered ones. I had a cutting as well, which is a fairly decent cutting, so I'm gonna try and do that as well. So I'm cutting it just below a leaf node. I'm gonna strip them off. Grab myself another pot. A fairly deep one. Some people use rooting compound. I don't. Sometimes I do. Depends what it is. If it's softwood cuttings, I tend to. Just trimming these thorns off. I'm just going to give a bit of a scrape just to get down to some of the green wood. That'll encourage the rooting. I'm just going to go in there. I'm going to give them a good soak. And I've got a load that I did last year. I'm just going to put them with them. Right, that's that. So the next thing I'm going to do is this, which is the damson. I'm going to take this New Year's growth, so I'm going to take a bit of I'm going to try a hardwood cutting, which is this bit at the bottom, and the softwood cutting. I'm just going to go and grab some bigger pots. I'll be back in a sec. Right, like I said, this is damson. I'm going to do two cuttings out this one. So the hardwood cutting and the softwood cutting. Softwood is the newer growth, so just going to strip this back a bit. Just by pulling these off, it's opening up the green. I'm going to do two into the one pot off each branch. So these are just rose pots and some everyday compost. A few of the leaves off. It's just going to go into the soil like that. The hardwood one, I'm going to take a few more of the bigger branches off, just so it leaves a few leaves. All the ones at the bottom are coming off. Again, I'll just give this a bit of a scrape, so that'll encourage the roots. And around the top. That's two damson. Let's do another one. Again, one hardwood cutting and one softwood cutting. Make sure when you're doing it, obviously you're putting everything the right way up, because the sap's already sort of rising that way. What we want to do is try and force it back the other way. So, bit of a scrape. Take that one off. Some people actually seal that bit. I've got some proper tape. I'll show you that in a sec. So this is just grafting tape, which is like cling film basically. It sort of sticks to itself. All you're doing is sealing over. sealing over the end, and that forces, instead of the sap rising, it gets to the top and forces itself back down again. So the other one from that one is a soft one, top end there. Probably could have got more off this one, the length of it. And this is damson. It's a Cumbrian damson. It's not grafted to any rootstock, so it's true. It's a true plant, so it should be fine to take a cutting. Obviously, you know, if you don't want to take it from where the graft is, because it's not the true plant, whereas this isn't a grafted plant, it's a true damson. Okay, that'll do for now. Right, the next cutting I'm going to take is a fig cutting. The figs are quite soft all the way through, to be honest, soft wood. It's important that you try and get some gloves on. I'm not sure if I'm going to get these on because they're wet. But the sap on the fig can burn and cause blisters. So if you can, wear some gloves. And the fig tree is it's just behind you. It's in the greenhouse, and it's all I've done is took a cutting off a couple of minutes ago, and you can actually get quite a few cuttings from one sort of long branch. They're fairly soft wood. So this is what I've cut off, and it was actually coming off the tree and going up into the roof, which is why you can see the leaves are a bit bent. But what I'm going to do is probably about 2 foot long, cut just below a node. You can see a leaf, and then the nodes in between the leaf, and that's actually where the fig will fruit from. So I've cut just below it there, on there. I'm just going to cut about the middle of it there. So that's going to be one cutting. And another. And this one I'm going to cut the tip out, so that is really soft. I'm going to cut that there. So it's important that you keep everything the right way up, and let's say they'll shoot from the nodes. So I'm not going to completely take all the leaves off, but I'm going to trim it down a bit just to help a little bit, because what we wanted to do is put the energy back down into the roots. So at the moment the sap's rising to go towards the tip to make the growth and to make the figs, but what we want to do is feed it back downwards. So I've got some grafting tapes somewhere, just had it. Where have I put it? So this is just like I showed you before, it's just like cling film. All we're going to do is put that over, seal the end in, so that when it gets to the end, it's going to force the sap back down. Some people do, some people don't, but I'm just going to scrape away a little bit so you get to the green. Fairly long pot. I'm going to use a rose pot here. I'm probably going to put 2 cuttings in one pot. It's just everyday compost, nothing special. First time I took a fig cutting, but going to the old interweb, that's the way you do it. That's out there so you can't see for those butts. So second one, remember the way it goes up. Them ones are coming off. Chop the leaves down a bit. I mean, these will die off anyway towards the end of the season, but I might keep these in the greenhouse as opposed to outside where I keep all my other cuttings. And the grafting tape on top. Leave that foot out. Right, and again, so they should produce shoots from where those buds are. That's two figs. I'll give that a soak. I'll find another pot. I'll do another one. Right, I'll show you what I've done when I'm finished. So just doing another fig, and I don't know if you can see, if I can get it in focus, but I don't know if you can see the white milky sap running out. That's can burn you, so make sure you've got on your gloves. Right, that's the figs potted up there. Just give them a good soak, and I'll just put them on the trough with the peppers. So six brown turkey figs for cuttings. Let's see what happens. Right, I'm gonna head outside because it's a bit warm. I'm gonna gather some strawberries and do some strawberry cuttings. Right, I'm gonna do up some strawberry runners. I've pulled a few of these, and these were sort of bedded into the ground. They've got roots. Not brilliant. Normally I do it the other way around. I put the pots on them, leave them attached, but I just want to tidy the beds up, to be honest. So they'll still work. So bit of potting compost. I normally use just a bit of bent wire to pin them down. I do the same when they're outside, to be honest. Just a bit of bent fencing wire. I'll trim off all of these. Roots in, and it just gets pinned down with the garden wire, and that'll start and shoot off and take off. So I've got a few to do. I tend to only do the nearest one to the strawberry plant, so you'll shoot off and get runners and runners, but they become weaker and weaker, so that'll come off. A bit of wire. Just to hold it in place. That'll be trimmed off. Right, so that's the strawberries. I'm going to do a few of them. I'll catch us in a bit. Right, that's all the strawberry plants done. I'll show you them in a minute. So I'm onto some rosemary cuttings now. So some smaller pots. Again, just everyday compost. Got a branch of rosemary, and we're going to take semi-hard, semi-softwood cuttings. So about that long, about 6 inches long. We'll strip off the bottom leaves. It smells lovely. And again, just a bit of a scrape down to the green into the pot. I'll do a couple of dozen of these just to give away to family and friends. Even if you keep them on a windowsill, you know, wait till the root, pot them up, slightly bigger pot, and they'll grow off on a windowsill. If you don't want too big of a plant, you know, you just need a few bits of herbs. And I'll sort these and then keep them damp once they've been soaked. Some of them will die off, some of them, you know, it's a risk you take, isn't it? So I'm not trying to look for nice straight ones. But generally most of them will take. Rosemary's quite an easy thing to take cuttings from. And I'll just pass these on to other people. Right, I'm going to do a few of them and I'll come back. Right, that's a few rosemary cuttings there. Just going to find somewhere to put them in the troughs till the roots take up. Catch you in a bit. Right guys, I'm just about to finish up for today, but I thought I would just show you my little crop for today. So there we go, today's little crop. A couple of courgettes, put of tomatoes, a couple of apples which fell, and a pear, bag full of grapes, put of raspberries, put of blackberries, sorry, and some few little yellow and red tomatoes, and a couple of peppers there. So yeah, I'm pretty much getting that every time I come over. So that's not too bad. Right, I'll sign off outside. Right, just heading off home now. I've done my bit for the day. I've done my pruning of my trees, what I wanted to get done. I've done the rosemary, I've done the strawberry cuttings, I've tidied up a bit. Yeah, so I've done quite a bit, quite a bit of a harvest as well. So yeah, not too bad for a couple of hours. Right, I'm going to sign off. It's getting a bit hot now, so I'll see you on the next one. Thank you everybody for liking and subscribing, and see you next week.